All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you taking this time out of your Sunday evening to be here with me. I know you have some preparing to do to get started and have a successful week tomorrow. So I won't take up too much of your time, but I am grateful for you taking this time to be here with me this evening. So welcome to my live webinar. As you can see, we're here to talk about mortgage note investing, and specifically how note investing can give you the ability to create the passive income and therefore the freedom that we're all here in search of. All right. So we are live. So if you have any questions as we go, feel free to drop them in the chat and I will answer them as I see them. I do have a bit of a delay, maybe 20 or 30 seconds or so. So if I have to come back to your question, I will do that. But let's get rolling. So again, we are here to talk about. Fact is, banks do not invest in real estate. They don't invest in stocks or mutual funds. I won't say they don't do this at all, but this is not the bread and butter of their business. Okay, this is not how banks make their money. Okay, banks make their money through lending. Okay, by providing loans to people as they come in and collecting interest on those loans over time. Okay, that is the foundation of how banks work. Now, why would they do that? Okay. First and foremost, these loans create passive monthly cash flow. So if you think about it this way, every loan that a bank creates, that it gives out, is a new stream of passive income, right? So every time a bank gives out a loan, whether it's a car loan, home loan, personal loan, scoop that loan and say, hey, we need our money back. Scoop that loan and say, hey, we need our money back one way or another. So the bank feels comfortable through that security, right? And then the third thing is control over ownership. Like I said, it's cool to own a property, but it's not cool to deal with property ownership issues, right? So you can control a property by controlling the finance. I have 20 to 30 here, but you can get a 15-year mortgage, right? So these are long-term loans. These are long-term payments. And typically on a mortgage, the property is used as collateral for the loan. So if the loan doesn't get paid, the property is at risk. So as I was saying, so banks will give out these loans, will sell off these loans rather, and prefer to receive a lump sum over the full value that they would receive later, should they collect the full interest on the loan. And this way they have to manage the borrower sometimes if necessary. If you've ever had a mortgage already of income, which is what we're after, that's our ultimate goal. And that's why we do what we do, right? So note investing is considered by many to be how much you're going to get paid every month, for how long, what the interest rate, right? This creates a barrier of notes with your retirement account, for example, because if your retirement account, which most are, is invested largely in the stock market and the stock market takes a hit and your account goes this way, there's no guarantee that you have the time to get that back up to the level that it was at and surpass that level, right? So we want to have security and we want to have consistent, steady growth, okay? The third thing is outsized returns. Again, people who are investing largely in the markets will find success over time. I'm not here to tell you that stuff doesn't work. We know there's a proven track record throughout history that long-term investing in the markets works, right? But the average stock portfolio, we're looking at 6 to 10% on average, right? And with that 6 to 10% return comes significant risk, right? We can't control when our money goes up and down, right? When we're looking at notes and we're buying mortgages, right? We're buying these loans. Number one, we're buying at a discount, which creates a spread, right? So immediately we're creating equity, which means we've already made money on the buy, okay? It's also not unheard of to receive larger returns, double digits, 10, 20, 15% loan, 15% returns. I've heard larger numbers as well, but those are rarer cases, so we're not even going to go that far. But the bottom line is, when you buy notes and you set your own negotiation, you set your own buy prices, right? You can create larger returns for yourself. And then the final thing is passive cash flow. Again, this is what we're here for, right? We want passive monthly income so that we don't have to continue to exchange time for money. Okay, we have a finite amount of time here. I believe we deserve to use it as however we see fit, right? And that passive cash flow is going to be the key to that. Okay, now you can use this passive income to replace your active income. You could use it to build a savings in the background, or however you see fit, right? But at the end of the day, when you are earning money that you don't have to clock in for, it changes your life altogether. Okay. So I hope this concept is making sense so far. Again, feel free to drop any questions you have in the chat, and I will answer them as I see them. But what I want to do now is take this concept and give you a case study so we can apply some numbers to what we're talking about here, and hopefully it makes a little more sense, right? So here we have a home that's valued at $142,000 with a mortgage balance of $108,000. Okay, there's an 8% interest rate on this mortgage, and there's 15 years remaining on the term. Okay, that's 180 months of payments left. So the monthly payments are just above $1,000 a month. Now I'm going to speak in round numbers as I go through this, just for the sake of flow and simplicity. You can see the actual numbers on the screen, but I'll be speaking in round numbers. Okay. So we have monthly payments coming in on this property of just over $1,000 a month, right? And the bank has collected on this note for a few years, right? They're happy with what they've received, and they say, you know what? We're gonna go ahead and offer this up for $89,000, right? So being the savvy investor that you are, you say, sure, that's a pretty good discount. I'll go ahead and buy it. So you buy a note that's worth $108,000 at a price of $89,000. You've already created a spread of $19,000 right there in equity, right? Not only are you secured by a $108,000 note, the property itself is also worth $142,000, right? So there's double security, double collateral right there, right off the bat, right? So as I mentioned, the buying like this creates instant equity, but that's not all. You're probably sitting there saying, okay, I get that. I bought the note. How do I know I'm going to get my money, right? How do I know that I'm going to collect these monthly payments? Which leads me to one of the most impressive aspects of mortgage note investing, in my opinion, which is the three possible outcomes. Okay, so hear me when I say that all investments carry risk. Okay, I'm not here to tell you that this is some magical solution. It's risk-free, you're guaranteed, none of that, okay? Every investment carries risk. What I am here to tell you is that when you can predict your outcomes, you're going to fare a lot better, and it's going to be a lot harder to lose, okay? Mortgage note investing only carries three possible outcomes, okay? The first outcome is that you get paid as agreed. Your borrower, they know what they signed up for. You know, they pay you every month for the duration of the loan. You collect all that money on interest, and at the end of the loan, they're free and clear. They own their property free and clear. You've collected all the money that you're owed, and you all go your separate ways. The second outcome is early payoff. Okay, so typically a borrower will refinance their loan at some point or even sell the property. And in order to absolve themselves of the current loan, they have to use the proceeds from that sale or refinance to pay off your note. Okay, this is a great outcome because you'll get your money back ahead of schedule, which increases your overall return and allows you to go ahead and redeploy those funds, right? And the third outcome is that the borrower fails to pay. They default on the loan and you claim the collateral property, right? Unfortunately, life happens sometimes in a way that people can no longer afford to make their payments. And as an investor, you know, you have to take steps to make sure that you are protecting your investment. And that does involve going after the collateral sometimes. But we're going to get into each of these here and apply them to our case study. And you can see how that works with the numbers, okay? So the first outcome is pay as agreed, okay? Your borrower is paying you just over $1,000 a month, $1,032 a month for the next 15 years. That's 180 monthly payments, okay? At the end of this term, you've collected a total of just shy of $186,000. Over the course of 15 years, that works out to an annual return of 11.37%, okay? So we're already starting off hot in double digits, okay? This is obviously the most straightforward outcome. There's not a lot to it, but as we can see, we like double-digit returns. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if we like double digits, okay? I know I do. I'd rather start there than, 3, 4, 5, 6%, right? Outcome number two is that the borrower sells the house after 5 years, for example, and you get paid off early. Okay, so for the first 5 years since you bought this loan, right, you've collected the monthly payments, right? You collected your $1,000 a month for 5 years. That's 60 months. And after 5 years, your borrower says, you know, I think we're ready to move. We've been here for a while. We're ready for some new scenery. We're going to go ahead and sell the house. That does not mean that your investment is dead in the water. Okay, so let's take a look at what an early payoff looks like. Again, you've collected 5 years of payments. Okay, that's $1,000 a month, 60 months. Right, we're looking at just shy of $62,000 collected in passive cash flow. Okay, if you've ever paid a loan of any kind, you know that part of your monthly payment goes to principal and part of your monthly payment goes to interest. Okay, which affects the way that your mortgage is paid, or that your loan is paid down. In this case, it's a mortgage, right? But that is to say that on this particular loan, even though the balance was $108,000 when you purchased it, and you've already collected $62,000, the actual balance has only gone down by about $23,000. So you're still owed $85K on this loan, right? That's how amortization works. If you've ever taken a look at an amortization schedule, you can kind of see the split between principal and interest, and this makes a little more sense. But at the end of the day, you've collected your 62 in cash flow. You're still owed 85 to pay off the remaining balance, right? You add those numbers up, and you're looking at $147,000 total collected, right? So you go ahead, subtract your investment amount, your $89,000 from that 147, and you're looking at a profit of about $58,000 in about 60 months. Okay, so 5 years, $58,000. You're looking at an annual return of 13.29%. Okay, so if you're following me, when we were getting paid off as agreed, we had 11%. All right, we got a gift and got paid off early, and now we're getting an increase in our return. Right, that's a big deal. Okay. And so the final outcome, the scary one, right? Your borrower fails to pay, and we don't know what happens there. Okay. So again, sometimes life happens. Let's say after the same 5-year period, you've been collecting your monthly payments for 5 years. Your borrowers get a divorce and they can no longer afford to make the payments on the home. Okay. So what happens in this situation? In this situation, you're going to claim the property as collateral to recoup your investment. Now, let me pause here to say that we as note investors are not jerks. Okay, we're not here to kick people out of their homes and take them away. And so we have other strategies, other remedies to work with our borrowers to try to get them out of the situation as cleanly as possible. Okay, so we have an option called cash for keys, right? Where, hey, it would cost me, $2,500 to foreclose on you. How about I pay you this this $2,500 to leave the property free and clear, right? No eviction, no foreclosure on your record. You can go start fresh somewhere else. There's a deed in lieu where maybe the person living in the home passed property, but if you just want to sign it over to us, you can walk away and we'll deal with it, right? So there are other options before foreclosure, but unfortunately, sometimes we do have to take that step and go all the way through the legal process to go ahead and claim that property. But after the fact, we have the option to sell, rent, move in, whatever we want to do with it. It's our property now, right? Typically, as investors, we're going to go ahead and sell it because we want to get our money back and go make another investment, though. Correct? And so in this case, let's say we sold the property for the value of $142,000. Now, take note that it has been 5 years, and so there's a pretty good chance that the property has appreciated well past $142,000. But since that's the value we started off with, that's the number we'll stick with. All right, so we've collected our 60 months of payments. We've collected our $62,000. We collected our sale proceeds of $142,000, right? We're going to subtract about $13K for realtor and legal fees, right? We did have to go through the whole court process to foreclose. We hired a realtor to help us get the property sold so that we wouldn't have to do that ourselves, right? But after all of that, we're looking at a total collected of about $191,000, okay? Now you take your $191,000, you subtract your amount invested, right? Your $89,000, and you're looking at a total profit of about $102,000, right? Now you'll see the total profit says 72 months. We're going to assume that the foreclosure and sale of the property took an extra year. But for a 6-figure profit, I will gladly wait an extra year. I'm assuming most of you would as well. If you wouldn't, let me know differently in the chat, but I don't have a problem with that, right? But here we're looking at a 15.84% annual return. Okay, now this is where it all comes together, right? See, when things went the way that we expected them to, we received an 11.37% return. Okay, when we got a gift and got paid off early, we got a 13.29% return. Okay, and then when we were inconvenienced and had to do a little extra work, right, to resolve our issue, we got our highest return of 15.84%. Okay, so hear me when I say that mortgage note investing makes it difficult to lose. These 3 possible outcomes make note investing a great strategy. Okay, so I hope you all are following. I hope those numbers made sense. Please let me know if I'm going too fast. I tend to get in a bag with this stuff. But we're going to move on here, because earlier I told you that note investing is regarded as the best kept secret in real estate investing. What I did not say is that I only gave you half of the secret. Okay, so the other half of that secret is that you can profit from note deals without doing any deals of yourself. Okay, some of you listening to this webinar might be saying, you know, this stuff sounds cool, but it sounds like a lot. You know, I don't necessarily have the time or capacity to learn how to do deals and go find the money for it. And what I'm telling you here is you don't have to do that. Okay, you can profit from other people's deals without doing any deals. So how does this work? See, as a note investor, I get opportunities sent to my inbox every day, right? And sometimes I come across a great opportunity when I just deployed my capital to a different investment, right? Or sometimes I come across an opportunity that looks really good, but maybe it's above the capital that I have available at the time, right? So instead of just sitting there and going, oh man, that would be a great opportunity, I sure wish I could have got that one, I sit back and think, who do I know that might want to earn some passive income? Who do I know that may be willing to partner with me to make the investment, right? And so I reach out to my network and I say, hey, I have this great deal that I'd like to take advantage of. It's going to require a little more capital than I have on hand at the moment, right? I was wondering if you'd be interested in partnering with me to take down this opportunity. You don't have to do any work, any research, nothing like that. You just supply the capital to close this deal, and I'll pay you every month for helping me out. All right. And people say, well, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. Okay. So these people are my private lenders. Okay. Now, private lenders are people who have some money to invest. They're interested in some hands-off passive income, right? Maybe they're busy with their jobs and don't feel like taking on something new, or, you know, maybe they just don't have the energy or desire to learn a new investment strategy. That's perfectly fine, right? But they have the capital to help close some deals, right? They're looking to invest their money for a limited time. So maybe they just closed the deal and they're trying to figure out what to do with it next, but they don't want it to just sit there, right? So they say, okay, I'm working on this other opportunity. It might take me some time, a year or 2 or 3. Let me put my money somewhere else so that it continues to grow, right? Until I'm ready. They're looking to profit from the expertise of others. So again, I don't feel like learning a new strategy. I don't have the desire to do it. I don't have the time to do it because of my busy schedule, but I do want to put my money to work. And then private lenders are people who are looking for secure investments with high returns. Now, you can be a private lender on anything at all, okay? Your brother can call you and say, hey, I'm building a new pool in my backyard and I need about $20,000 to get it done. Will you loan it to me, right? And you can do that. But if your brother doesn't pay you back the way he said he would, to pull out the ground, right, and take it back, right? So private lenders are looking for secure investments with high returns, okay? Most private lenders have their funds in one of these categories. So maybe they have a savings account with some money stashed away. And let me say that if your money is in a savings account that you can just walk into a bank and open up, you're losing money, right? Most standard savings accounts pay less than 1%. All right, inflation is hovering around 3%. That means the longer that your money stays in those savings accounts, the less valuable it's becoming, right? If you have a high yield savings account, you may be earning 3 to 5% return on your investment, right? Or excuse me, 3 to 5% return on your money, which is cool, right? But we can do much better, right? Maybe private lenders have money in a retirement account, so maybe they have an IRA or a 401k, and maybe it's not returning as much as they'd like it to, or maybe they're looking for some more security. I know some people who took a big hit from the stock market crash a few months ago. One guy I talked to specifically lost 200K out of his account, during that period. And unfortunately, there's no guarantee that he has another, 10, 20, however many years to not only earn that money back, but continue to grow his money on the trajectory that it was on prior to, right? So people who have their money in stocks and want to tuck some away in a safer vehicle, right? They make great private lenders. Maybe someone has a life insurance policy that they want to borrow against. Maybe you have $1 million policy and you want to borrow 100K against it to go again make an investment and earn yourself some passive income. Okay, and then finally, real estate investors. Real estate investors make fantastic private lenders because they already have a concept of real estate. But maybe they're tired of being a landlord, right? They're tired of filling vacancies. They're tired of repairs and trash and, all the stuff that landlords deal with. And so they'd rather come over and be a private lender, right? And earn passive income that's a lot more hands off, a lot less stressful, right? Maybe they're a wholesaler who, hustles really hard to get their deals done. And they're out there competing with all the other wholesalers on the limited pool of assets and the limited pool of deals that are available. And they do all this work and then they have to do it again to get paid again. And they have to do it again to get paid again because wholesale deals and fix and flip deals only pay out once, right? So I have conversations with these wholesalers and flippers and say, hey, what if you took half of what you earned from your wholesale deal, put it in your pocket, take the other half, invest it in a note, right? And that's going to pay you for, month after month for years to come. And then what if you did that with your next deal? And what if you did that with your next 10 deals, right? And before you know it, you have this nice stash of passive income coming in every month where your wholesale deals or your flip deals are continuing to pay you, years after you completed them. And maybe if you want to take a step back and say, hey, I don't feel like doing deals anymore, I want to take a break, that you're still getting paid every month, right? Without having to go out there and hustle for it. So I find that a lot of private lenders fall under these categories, right? We're going to apply one more quick example to our case study to kind of give you a sense of what this would look like, right? So this is Eddie. Okay, Eddie's an engineer. He works really hard. He works long hours. Eddie makes great money, but he wants to get into real estate investing, but he's too busy, right? He doesn't have the time with his schedule to learn how to invest in real estate the way that he would like to, right? So Eddie and I, we have a good relationship, and I come to Eddie and I say, hey man, I have this fantastic opportunity to purchase a mortgage note, but I need some help with the capital to take down the deal, right? Will you partner with me to help me do this? Eddie says, sure. I have some money in my self-directed IRA account. I'd be willing to do that. How much do you need? I say, Eddie, if you'll loan me $89,000 to go ahead and take down this note, I'll give you 8% interest on your money. Okay, Eddie says, that sounds great. I mean, my account's doing 5% right now, so I'll take that, no problem. Okay. So for loaning me that money out of his retirement account, Eddie's going to receive $850 a month, okay, into that account. Steady monthly income, steady monthly growth. Okay. Now remember, our note pays out $1,032 a month, right? So Eddie's going to receive the lion's share of that payment. All right, I'm going to take the smaller share. And people may say, why would you do that? But these things stack up, right? Those $200 a month, $400 a month, those things add up quickly, right? So Eddie's receiving $850 a month to his retirement account. I say, hey, so how long would you like to be my lender for? Eddie says, well, I'm loaning this money out of my retirement account. I'm a fairly young guy. I can't touch it for years anyway. So let's just route. Let's just stay in there for the full term. Okay. I say, that sounds great. Thank you, Eddie. So he earns $850 a month to his retirement account for the next 15 years, the next 180 months. And at the end of the term, Eddie's earned $153,000 from the $89,000 that he loaned me to take down this note. Okay. All the while he's earning passive income, right back into his account. He's earning contractual growth. So again, he's not worried about, if the money's coming in, when it's coming in, right? Every month he knows that he's receiving his 850 and it's going to continue to grow and compound. And the great thing about it is he's lending from IRA account, right? So his gains, his earnings are tax deferred, or if it's a Roth, then tax free because they've already been taxed, going into the account. Eddie's not worried about market volatility tanking his portfolio, tanking his retirement funds. Again, this is money that we don't want to play with, okay? When we're talking retirement, we want security over everything. We want to know that when we are past working age or past the energy to continue to work, we have enough money in our account to take care of us for the remainder of our lives. So we do not want markets to dictate what that looks like, okay? Beyond that, Eddie is helping to provide a family housing. Okay, now how is that happening? When a bank provides a mortgage loan, right, and helps a family buy a house, they're likely going to stay in that house for an extended period of time. So that's where their core memories are coming from. That's where they're going to live a large part of their lifetime. And every time they make a monthly payment, they're building equity in that home. Okay, when they build equity, they're building wealth. Okay, so ideally they're going to pay off that home after however many years, own it free and clear, and that becomes the foundation to them building wealth for their next generation, hopefully the generations beyond that, right? So by lending the money to purchase this note and continue providing this resource, Eddie can feel good about providing a family with housing and helping them build wealth along the way, okay? And then again, at the end of the day, if the note can't perform, the way that we want it to, Eddie receives valuable collateral, right? He has that note there to say that if we don't receive these payments, right, we do have the right to go ahead and claim this property. He knows he's going to get his money back. His $89,000 is not gone, right? And he can feel comfortable knowing that, okay? So at the end, sorry, give me 1 second. I'm getting a little notification here that my stream is not working. Okay, cool. I think we're good. Sorry about that, guys. Cool. So, say all that to say that I'm always on the hunt for good note deals, okay? My question to all of you is, can I call you when I find one? Again, my goal behind all of this is to collaborate with other people to build passive income, to build wealth, and to earn our freedom, right? So when these deals come in, right, and I can pick up the phone and say, hey, last time we talked, you said you had some money in your retirement account, or maybe you had, $20,000 in your savings or so that you were looking to deploy. I have a note that fits the box that we discussed. Would you be interested? Right? And that's what this is all about, is collaborating to build wealth and collaborating to win together, right? Because at the end of the day, like I said, we all deserve more freedom. We have limited time to live the lives that we have and to do the things that we want to do. And now and today is the time to live life the way that we want to live life the way that we've always envisioned it, right? And so with that, I want to say thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you for taking the time. If you have any questions or you want to schedule a call with me, please visit my website, note-genius.com. Send me an email, brian@notegenius.com. I have three free ebooks in the description of this video to kind of elaborate on the things that I touched on today. All right, so if you're interested in that, please go ahead and grab those ebooks. They are educational. They're pretty quick, so they're not too heavy. But I think that you'll receive a lot of great information out of there. And then finally, please go ahead and subscribe. Follow me on social media. I consistently drop. We're doing vlogs. And so if you want to stay tapped in with note investing and how it works and the benefits of being a note investor or even a private lender on notes, please go ahead and follow, subscribe so that we can stay tuned. And with that said, again, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I hope that your week gets off to a great start tomorrow, and I hope to talk to you all soon. Thanks.